Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Hartford Whalers Expansion Franchise here on NHL 24. We're here at the Rock, the Prudential Center, as we have a 2-1 lead over the New Jersey Devils here in a division matchup. As right off the rip here, Jesper Bratt is able to put that rebound home. A little bit weak there, but New Jersey able to win the opening faceoff here to start the period. And just like that, a tie game here from Newark, New Jersey. Jesper Bratt nets his 24th of the season. You see Jack Hughes, that initial shot, and the Devils now 2-2. Our Whalers enter this episode as the third best team in the Metro right now. That was just like off the outside of the post and somehow deflected in. A weird angle that time. Askarov just playing that. Could have played it a little bit better, but still a little bit of a tough break as we are going to call the timeout, try and regroup. As we see the points leaders in this game, Jack Roslovic does have an assist, and he's now 5th on our team in points. And we'll do it again just 23 seconds into the third period. We are tied up here as we do win the faceoff that time. And Montour just going to jet right to our own goalie, and he's overtaken there by Jack Hughes for Pulock, and now to Nico Hischier behind the net as he does get some space in front. Backhand chance, save Askarov, and now picked up by Mark Scheifele as he gives to Leo Carlsson. Montour loses possession and is picked up by Philip Zadina now into the zones for Hartford, as that will be picked up by Ryan Pulock. Pulock was acquired at last year's trade deadline from the Islanders, as again Jesper Bratt right to the net. Good job there by Montour. Now Philip Zadina gives for Carlsson. Hartford a little bit sloppy out of the gate here to start the third period. Only 4 wins in our last 10 games. Our Whalers started the year very good, but have been kind of on a downward skid as of late. New Jersey flying all over the ice right now. A good slap shot there from the point was kicked away by Askarov, and now the other way, as I'm not sure what Zadina's doing there, offside. Or I thought it was offside, at least. That was even more weird. He just gave up on that play entirely, as we definitely need to get a line change at this point. And now that's just behind our net, kind of just idling along as we're going along here in this third period. But now Jack Roslovic, he's been one of our high energy guys this season. I think he has now set a career high in points, or very close to it, as he's working towards the net, trying to get the go-ahead goal. And now Fabian Zetterlund is pickpocketed there by Peak, who backhands that to Roslovic, as he will just dump that into the zone, as that's picked up by Luke Hughes. Hughes still with it, as he takes that out of the zone and dumps that into the Hartford zone, as Roslovic back with it. Stretch pass there for Landeskog, as he will work it in now. Landeskog centering pass there for, I think that was Ivan Provorov, but it was intercepted. Now Miles Wood, who has found his way back to the New Jersey Devils, as a centering pass there to Dawson Mercer, saved by Askarov. A lot of action out of the gate. Finally a chance to catch my breath there, as now Simon Nemec, a shot from the point, as Askarov sprawling out, able to save it, and now Peak able to keep possession of the puck, being pestered there, and eventually loses possession, as now Dougie Hamilton does give back up for Mercer, as he's had a strong shift here. And now Mangiapane, as he goes a little horizontal there, then eventually for Andrew Kopp, who is hit off the puck. Now Dawson Mercer back with it, as he peels up ice, dumps that in, as that'll be picked up by Jordan Spence. Now Mangiapane, as he loses the battle there against Josh Anderson. Back to the point for Hamilton, now for Nemec in the slot, and that's blocked into the corner. Anderson back with it, now back for Hamilton, a shot, and that's paddled away with the blocker by Askarov. And now Spence able to get that out of harm's way to Mangiapane for Andrew Kopp, who's back in the lineup after missing a few games. A rip there from the point, save by, I think that's Vanacek, in net for New Jersey. Still their goaltender here into year 5 of this franchise. Now in the slot there for Nemec, and a good shot saved by Askarov now against the boards. Dougie Hamilton being hit there by Denisenko, able to keep it now for Mercer. Still on the ice here, wraps away from a man, but had a good opportunity in front. Eventually hit off the puck there by Spence, as Denis Gurianov, one of the goal scorers in this game for Hartford, loses the battle there but to Hamilton, but eventually wins the war, I suppose, as he works towards the net and almost gets a shot off. Some good footwork there, some good hands as well from Gurianov, as now Jack Hughes, one of the most dynamic players in the league. Now Hischier, a chance, and a blocker save there from Askarov, now behind the net, as Jack Hughes fighting there with Chaika, as Chaika finally gets that for Leo Carlsson. Carlsson, a big hit there in the neutral zone, as Scheifele able to recover it, but He's also hit off the puck, getting a little physical here. As New Jersey 5 points out of a playoff spot at this point, but they have picked it up as of late. Now Luke Hughes for Jack Hughes, as that's gloved away by Askarov. The Hughes brothers still together here in New Jersey, but Quinn Hughes signed a big contract to play for the Islanders. Now centering pass for Scheifele, a shot, glove saved by Vanacek. So as I was saying, Quinn Hughes signed a 7-year contract with the New York Islanders, so he is now in the Metro, just now playing against his brothers on a more frequent basis, as Carlson there, good feed off the face-off win. Scheifele fighting for it now behind the net, as now Logan Brown able to give up for John Leonard. His 10th game, he has 6 goals already in just 9 regular season games so far. Now still in the neutral zone, New Jersey trying to get that into the zone, but eventually skids all the way over for Landeskog. Landeskog working towards the net, a shot. Rebound there was Razovic, but couldn't get it cleanly. Now back for Landeskog to the point for Maki in front for Besser. And a great feed there from Sammy Maki. Tremendous puck movement there in the offensive zone, which eventually ends up in a Brock Besser goal. He's been lighting the lamp a lot here lately, up to 17 goals now, in line to hit 20 for I think the 5th straight season. His 3rd season now with our Hartford Whalers. And he's been pretty good on an expiring contract. We'll see the options here, but tremendous shift there from that third line now. There's John Leonard. As I said, he had 6 goals entering this game in just 9 games played, but now our points leaders, we see Landeskog up to 3rd with 47. Mark Scheifele now down to 2nd. He was number 1 most of the way, but has since been overtaken by Filip Zadina. As Sammy Maki, that primary assist, tremendous puck movement, and Maki, maybe the best lockdown defender in the game right now. He's also taken his offensive game to another level now in his 4th NHL season after being drafted 1st overall back in 2024. And now Landeskog, a good feed there for Maki into the zone. Sammy Maki working towards the net, as he couldn't get that for Razovic. Now Jokiharju gives up for Gabe Viardi. Now Zachariah Reichel, the 19-year-old goal-scoring wonder, already 30 goals this season, centering pass there, and then back for Reichel, a lightning shot. Askarov slams the door, and you could see Reichel there knows he was just robbed. He had 35 goals last season as an 18-year-old rookie, and still that was not enough to win the Calder Trophy as the Rookie of the Year. That went to Michael Misa of the Dallas Stars, but Askarov on his game there, able to snag that one and rob Reichel of another game-tying goal here in the 3rd period for New Jersey, as we have just 2:02 now remaining in regulation. Have Dawson Mercer against Andrew Kopp on the draw. Advantage there goes to Andrew Kopp. Mangiapane now gives back for Kopp out of the zone. Kopp now into the New Jersey zone, pickpocketed by Jokiharju, gives to Dawson Mercer, will dump that in. And now picked up by Andrew Peak for the Whalers, turns it over, and we are going to get an elbowing penalty now here against Josh Anderson, so a tough break there from the Devils, a little too aggressive now there in that spot. And now this final 72 seconds, we'll call it, we're going to be on the power play. I'm assuming they're going to pull the goalie as well, so we might have a 2-man advantage, and that's very blatant there from Josh Anderson. Wow, I haven't seen such an aggressive penalty, I don't think, in this game throughout the course of this franchise. And now the offensive zone draw for Hartford. Able to tie it up. Mangiapane gets a shot there. Tough angle. Tom Wilson centering pass there. Vanacek able to squeeze that one up. And we have now less than a minute remaining. Tom Wilson scored a goal earlier. He put us up 2-1 back in the 1st period. As we'll have another face-off here to the left of Vitek Vanacek. 57 seconds remain. Face-off win there goes to the Devils. As Pulock will give to Luke Cunnin. And he does lose the handle there. Razovic now over for Filip Zadina. And now just wasting time there in our own zone. Finally going to get a rush going here. Brock Besser, that go-ahead goal here just a few minutes back. Now Miles Wood in front for Jokiharju as they lose the handle on that one again. And now Hartford back into the zone. Razovic centering pass there for Wilson as Vanacek will swallow that one up now less than 30 seconds. And in this episode, we are going to cover a 7-game road trip leading into the trade deadline. So next episode, we're going to go trade deadline and look at a lot of our prospects here. And I'm not sure if we're going to get through any games or not. We'll see how that goes, but still have to close this one out. 20 seconds remaining. Jack Hughes now on the rush here for New Jersey as he tried to pass there. Was intercepted by Mangiapane as they did pull the goalie a rip there. And Mangiapane buries that one. His 20th of the season for our captain. He's been the captain all 5 years now over the course of this expansion franchise as he nets the clincher here. Glad to see we're able to come away with the victory in this game. Every point matters here in the Metro Division, and we've been struggling here as of late, but that one from pretty much the logo, from definitely beyond 3, as his 20th goal, now second on the team. You love to see that from our captain Zadina at number 1 with 23. And hopefully the last face-off here of this game. In the next game, we're going to be on the road against Calgary, where we're going to meet Sidney Crosby and see him in a Flames sweater for the first time. Montour ripped there, broken stick, as he tried to net one more empty netter there. But that will do it here from the Prudential Center as the Whalers win this much-needed road matchup. We get back in the win column after what was a pretty tough episode last time out. Askarov had, I think, 27, 28 saves, it said, in this game. Probably going to be one of the top 3 stars. But that will do it here from the Prudential Center. A 4-2 victory for our Whalers, and we're going to jump into the next game on the road against the Calgary Flames, and hopefully we can keep the good times rolling. 4-2 here from the Prudential Center. And just like that, we're now into a matchup here at the Scotiabank Saddle Dome, taking on the Calgary Flames. A 1-1 matchup here as our Whalers trying to secure another close third period win here, as we do have the first rush of the period. Zadina with a lot of speed there into the corner, but picked off there. Now Jonathan Huberdeau over for Anderson. Rasmus Anderson pickpocketed there by Sammy Maki. And now Berkeley Catton with it. One of the youngsters here for the Calgary Flames. Leo Carlson now for Mark Scheifele. As Devon Toews overtakes that. A lot of fresh faces here. A very new look team here for the Flames now in year 5 of this franchise. Now Hampus Lindholm a shot. As he pickpocketed there, generated that opportunity. As now Catton there for Rasmus Anderson, back for Devon Toews, working towards the net. Couldn't get full force on that shot. And now Sammy Maki ends up with it over for Montour, now up for Leo Carlson. Mark Scheifele couldn't get a clean handle. As there's Sidney Crosby for the first time as a member of the Calgary Flames. His second season with them. We just didn't see him at all last year, as he is overtaken there by Brandon Montour. And now Rozovic with it. Numbers here for Hartford. Rozovic could not get a shot off there. And now Rasmus Anderson, he's hit to the ice by Rozovic. Now Donskoy over for Stoll. Calgary now on the rush for Crosby, and that was just blocked in front, caught by Montour. And so he'll take that the other way. Good pass there for Rozovic, now for Brock Besser. We saw he was the hero in the last game. Had that go-ahead goal against the Devils. As now Stoll with it for the Flames. Picked off there by Rozovic, now for Besser. And so he'll dump that in, picked off by Korchinski. And still a long pass there for Pelletier. Jacob Pelletier now into the zone for Calgary, as Besser will take that. Good pass there for Rozovic. As he'll dump and chase that. Like I said last game, high energy there. His skating has really improved. And now for Barron, picked off there by Besser, getting a lot of takeaways. Calgary has not been good passing the puck. And now against the boards, Besser still does end up with it. Now Andrew Peak some space back for Provorov. And he loses that one. Coronado, the goal scorer earlier for Calgary, as he loses possession of that one. Now loose puck picked up by Nazem Kadri. Kadri dangling in, finding some space, but Andrew Peak will take that and just dump it all the way down to the Calgary end. And Igor Shesterkin is the goaltender here for the Flames. His second season now in Calgary, signed in the same class, the same free agency class as Crosby. Now Korchinski for Niederreiter, shot, and that was off the inside of the post. I do not know how that stayed out. That looked like it was a surefire goal, but somehow we were blessed. The post was our friend that time. And you see the points leaders there. Elias Lindholm at the top with 49. 11:40 left in regulation here from Calgary. Simoneau on the draw for the Flames. He wins that back to Poirier. A shot goes wide. Still in the zone now. Oliver Bonk for Niederreiter. Again off the inside of the post. The other one. Oh my goodness. Now he just needs to hit the crossbar. That is insane precision. Just not exactly where you want it though. As again, the post keeps Niederreiter out of the net and proves to be the best friend there of Yaroslav Askarov. And now the other way for Andrew Kopp, leading the charge for the Whalers. Kick save by Igor Shesterkin. That's exactly how it would play out. 2 post shots for Calgary, and then we just take it back the other way and score. But unfortunately not the case this time, as now the Flames back the other way. Niederreiter trying to go for the crossbar now. Centering pass there, good feed, but a good save by Askarov. Now a long outlet pass there from Chaika to Sillinger as he's fighting towards the net. Great forecheck there by Sillinger, but just could not get it there. Some good energy here in Calgary in this third period. Hampus Lindholm now hit down to the ice by Chaika, bringing the boom now. Mark Scheifele into the zone. As he's still with it, tried the long pass there. Was intercepted by Poirier now for Anderson. Rasmus Anderson into the zone for Calgary. Stops now, centering pass for Catton, that's blocked. And now Huberdeau back to the point for Rasmus Anderson. Now Poirier, Huberdeau back for Anderson, that's blocked. A little too many passes there. Tremendous selfless play there by Leo Carlsson. He's really laid out his body on the line a lot lately, and Mark Scheifele, a quality chance back for Carlsson, tried to get Scheifele there backdoor, but was intercepted. Now Maki in front for Carlsson, a shot. Shesterkin will snatch that one up. Still our top line out there, even though they're very tired. Crosby on the draw against Scheifele. As we do end up with it off the tie-up now. Crosby gives there for Anderson. 1-1 here, 5:30 remaining in regulation. Donskoy tried a lead pass there for Stahl, was intercepted by Montour. Now Semi Maki back the other way, 2-on-1 for Hartford. Maki just going to do it himself, tried to back pass there for Montour, and Anderson took that. Now outlet pass there for Donskoy, as Calgary has some space here, and I think that was blocked or saved by Askarov. And now Hartford, big hit there in the neutral zone, and that's going to be a delayed penalty on Calgary. Rozovic towards the net now for Landeskog, backhand chance saved by Shesterkin. And again, like we saw in the last game, a late elbowing penalty from the CPU, the opposing team, as that Sidney Crosby, a rare penalty, especially elbowing nonetheless. And now Hartford a chance to take the late lead with the late power play. And that's just a cross check, if anything, on Landeskog. Another blatant penalty. The computers are not really giving any Fs at this point, I guess. And then Nazem Kadri on the draw against Rozovic, our second power play unit out there, as Calgary wins that. But Hartford ends up with possession, and we do keep it in the zone. Although it does find its way out as Kadri, just a one-man penalty kill here, eventually knocked down to the ice as the Whalers will reset. Rozovic there for Tom Wilson. Wilson towards the net, barreling, and that was a weak shot deflected in front by Rozovic, just kind of made it die out a little bit quicker. Shesterkin freezes. And now the draw here to the right of Igor. Still Rozovic versus Kadri. Kadri back to Bonk that time, as he does not clear the zone. And finally, Mangiapane gives chase, was just really boxing the man out. Tom Wilson, a triple deep there in front. Oh my goodness, tremendous save by Shesterkin. A late snag there to secure this tie so far. And keeping the Flames alive, keeping that spark alive. As we'll get another look there. Wilson trying to show off the hands. He did score in the last game, but Shesterkin there to slam the door. And it's still 1-1 here from Calgary. 1:02 remaining on the power play for Hartford. Less than 3 minutes down regulation. Scheifele wins that one back. As Brock Besser back for Zadina, a rip. As that's saved by Shesterkin. Bonk cannot clear it. Carlsson now tried passing there for Scheifele. Was tied up and could not get to it. Now Pelletier leading the charge. And still dumped that in. Picked up by Besser. And now just 30 seconds remain on this power play. Besser over for Carlsson. Now for Scheifele. Mark Scheifele will lead that into the zone. Now for Carlsson. You just got to shoot that one for Landeskog. And that was killed off there by Igor. And then Leo Carlsson, a chance there in front off a good Landeskog feed. And Igor again proving to be the best penalty killer here for Calgary, as they do kill that one off. Now 1:30 remaining here. Korchinski now for Rasmus Anderson. They'll try and get something going now here in the late stages. Brock Besser will take that over for now Landeskog. Loose puck picked up by Besser for Zadina, and he's intercepted. Now Hampus Lindholm over for Jonathan Huberdeau, and Tom Wilson off the bench able to disrupt that as Besser was trying to lead that in, loses the handle, as Tom Wilson there against Rasmus Anderson gets that away. And now Besser and Rozovic, good hit there, as we're just super aggressive on the forecheck, as now Besser into the zone. Good dangle there, Besser towards the net. Now for Rozovic, paddled away by Shesterkin. Now Montour in front for Maki, and we get the goal there on the rebound. 30 seconds remaining, and Tom Wilson, he had a great chance earlier, was snagged by Shesterkin, but this time on the rebound proves to be too tough for Igor to get over to. Tom Wilson's 15th goal of the season. Now back-to-back games, he's put a goal in the back of the net. Montour and Rozovic, I believe, on the assist there. And again, our Whalers able to pull out a late lead, but certainly still not over at this point. Still 30 seconds remaining. We'll make it 29, and Sid the Kid is out there on the ice, although we do get the face-off win. And now Tom Wilson trying to get another one here. We need some insurance as Crosby loses possession. And now less than 20 seconds into the zone is Hartford. Montour for Mangiapane, the former Calgary Flame, now the captain here of Hartford. Mangiapane in front, and again, like the last game, he nets another one late to give us some insurance. He said, "I'll help myself," just worked right in front of the net and put that home forehand short side, I believe, there on Igor. And I think Shesterkin just was not expecting that at all. I mean, the Flames defense kind of just froze there. Tom Wilson really setting the pick there, drawing all the attention. And Mangiapane now his 21st goal of the season there, getting it in against his former team. And a great start to this episode. We're going to get through 5 more games leading up to the trade deadline, probably talk some strategy and look at some players that are going to be available. But Montour and Wilson get an assist that time as they will pull the goalie. And Wilson a chance here with just 5 seconds remaining. Can we get the empty netter? Cop towards the empty net, and he tucks that home. So 3 goals in the matter of like 28 seconds as Andrew Kopp, just his 2nd game back after missing a few due to injury. His 10th of the season. We'll take all the points we can get on the stat sheet. Definitely got to stuff those stats when we can. As Kopp, great precision that time, hammering that one home on the empty net. And now 2 seconds remaining. Andrew Kopp again will do the honors on the draw. Montour and Wilson rack up another assist there as we take this one 4-1 from the Scotiabank Saddle Dome. Our Whalers are now buzzing, and let's see if we can close out this road trip in better fashion. We have 4 more games on this road trip, mostly on the West Coast. We just opened there against New Jersey, but we're going to have games, I believe, against the Coyotes, the Sharks, the Oilers maybe. So heavy West Coast here to come, and hopefully we can keep pace here in the Metro Division. The Islanders are about 10 points up on us, so I don't know if reaching that top spot is really attainable, but as long as we can hover in that 2nd or 3rd Metro seed, I think we'll be in very good hands. But Askarov, 21 saves on 22 shots, was the 3rd star in this game. The 2nd star, Brandon Montour, 3 assists. I think all 3 of those were in those final 28 seconds as we just went on a wild run. Mangiapane had that 2nd goal, and Tom Wilson 1 goal, 2 assists, as he was the 1st star in this game. Great start to the episode. Now we will just take to the sim probably the rest of the way. Now we are continuing this road trip now against the Arizona Coyotes, who are towards the bottom now of the Western Conference. We have the Sharks and the Oilers coming up, and we're going to leave it after these next 5 games and prepare for the trade deadline. Is now after the first period. Nothing doing. They do outshoot us 13-8, and now after the second period, we do get on the board twice. Leo Carlsson and then Brock Besser made it 2-0, but towards the end of the period, JJ Moser able to make it 2-1 as we will sim the 3rd period, and we come away with a 5-2 victory. Leo Carlsson nets a 2nd, as does JJ Moser there for the Arizona Coyotes, but also Mark Scheifele, and then Grigory Denisenko with the insurance there on the empty net as we win 5-2. Now a 4-game winning streak. We've won the last 3 games in this episode. Leo Carlsson was the 1st star in a 4-point effort. Brandon Montour again, a 3-assist performance. He's really coming alive there on our blue line as we're now into game 60 here against the San Jose Sharks, another team out of playoff contention there in the Western Conference. Although they have made some strides over the course of this franchise. Of course, we're still on NHL 24, so no Macklin Celebrini for them, as we will sim this one as well, trying to keep the good times rolling, as I said previously. And after the first period, we're up 2-0. Andrew Kopp just a minute and a half in. And then Andrew Mangiapane, another power play goal. I think that's now 8 power play goals for our captain. And we'll sim the second period 2-2. They do tie it up. Jordan Gavin was a top 5 pick going back a couple years ago. And then Krause was able to tie it up. So San Jose ties it up. We're out shooting them 21-17 now. Early in the 3rd period, we'll sim the rest of the way here in real time and see if we can get the late win. Now 23-22, so San Jose, most of the shots here to start the 3rd period. And they do get the goal there. Bordeleau scores for San Jose, so the Sharks 3 unanswered goals as they rewrite a 2-0 deficit. And now into the final 5 minutes as they get another one there from Zachary Benson, another high draft pick here over the course of this franchise, along there with Gavin. And now make it 4 unanswered goals from the Sharks as they are able to come away with the home win there, and they snap our 4-game winning streak. We're going to throw Daniil Tarasov in for the next game against Edmonton. Even though they have a high-octane offense, I think Askarov is due a rest. He started at least like the last 5 or 6 games now to this point. And we'll take a quick look at his numbers so far. 21 wins on the season, a .900 save percentage on the nose, and a .302 goals against. So the numbers, very much down from last season. He started off this year tremendously, but has since kind of fallen off, but still a good record, 21-9-3, as we are still holding the second spot in the Metro Division. And I totally forgot to throw Tarasov in. Let me go back and do that. And the Edmonton Oilers, I believe the Stanley Cup champions from year one of this franchise, they took down the Boston Bruins in that matchup, as I think the Western Conference has won every single Stanley Cup final so far over the course of this franchise. Hopefully we can buck that trend here this season, but we have to first make it into the postseason in order to get there. It looks like we're primed for a playoff matchup with the New York Rangers, but first we have to focus on the Edmonton Oilers, as no score after the first period. High shots there, 12-11 in favor for Hartford. And then 2-2 after the second period. Matthias Ekholm scores shorthanded to get it going. And then not even a minute later, Mangiapane scores. Philip Zadina scores about a minute and a half after that. And then Darnell Nurse, the last goal of the second period there at the 7:03 mark. As we're now all knotted up, heading into the third period of play, we will sim this one in real time. I think if we get overtime here against the Oilers, we will jump into that. I don't think we've seen Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl all that much over the course of this franchise. And now 5 minutes in, we are out shooting them, but Connor McDavid heard us talking about him, and then he puts the Edmonton Oilers up ahead. And then not far after that, Lehkonen gets a goal there on Tarasov. So it was 0-0 after the first, 2-2 after the second, and now a 4-2 lead here for Edmonton into the final 8 minutes, as we're now at risk of putting together back-to-back losses now into the final 5. And it looks like the Oilers are going to hang on here into the final 2 minutes now. As we get one there from Brock Besser now into the final minute, can we tie it up? As we do not. So some late life there on Stuart Skinner, but too little too late, as Nurse is the first star with a goal and assist. Evan Bouchard, 2 assists as the second star. And Lehkonen there, the go-ahead goal, was the third star. So now at LA Kings, at Washington to end this episode. We have now fallen below the New York Rangers in the Metro by 1 point, but they do have one game on us. So you have to keep that into consideration now as we visit the Los Angeles Kings, followed by a matchup against the Washington Capitals, who currently have the worst record in all of hockey with only 18 wins now, as we're into game 62 coming up. The Kings at 28-27-5 actually have a spot in the Pacific Division right now, and that just goes to show how weak the Western Conference has been despite all the Stanley Cup championships they've compiled over the course of this franchise. Now, after the first period, it's 2-2. We get a lot of scoring there. Jack Roslovic got it going, and then Andrew Mangiapane, as we were able to jump ahead again to a 2-0 lead for it to just be wiped out, as Kempe and then Bjorn Fort got a goal. So after the second period, it's 4-3 now in the favor of the Kings. They scored 4 unanswered, Lysell and Kakko, and then Landeskog able to get us back into the fight, and we will sim this third period now in real time. And again, squandering a multiple goal lead. You hate to see that on the power play. Hartford is, as we do not get anything out of that. The Kings kill it off, and we need something here to get us back on the right track. It was 4 wins in a row, and now we're at risk of falling in 3 straight games, again on the power play. And again, it is killed off by the Kings, it looks like. I stand corrected. Mark Scheifele able to tie it up. I think that was an extended power play or something. There must have been maybe a 5-on-3 or another penalty committed there by the Kings now into the final minute. And we are going to get some overtime action here. And I did say if we got some overtime against the Edmonton Oilers, we would jump into it. But instead, we'll just take it here against the Los Angeles Kings. A 4-4 game. Brant Clark, Kevin Fiala, and Adrian Kempe, the top players here for the Kings, who, like I said, currently third in the Pacific, holding a playoff spot despite a pretty weak record, at least compared to ours. But it doesn't matter about record. It matters about who can get the next goal, as Mark Scheifele had that power play goal to tie it up, and he's now out there on the opening draw. The Kings do win that back for Brant Clark, and he has a lot of space, just a clear path to the net. He shoots and scores on the forehand, and just like that, it did not take long for the Kings to find the back of the net. They get their 30th win now of the season, as we have now dropped our, it was at 3 or 4 straight games, and we are desperate to get back into the win column heading into the trade deadline. We have some moves to make, some players that we certainly need to upgrade. I mean, we were kind of rethinking things. We thought that things were going well. We wouldn't really have to make a move. We could stand pat with the players we had on the roster, but I don't know. Now we're kind of slipping a little bit. Still comfortable in the playoff picture, but you can't get too complacent in the ever so tough Metro Division. And the Kings able to get this one despite being down 2-0 early. They show good resilience, and they win this one at home 5-4. Now, at least we do get a point out of it, so we've now split our last 10 games. We've only won 5 of them, as we get a trade offer there. A couple twos for Andrew Kopp. No thank you. We're not really selling. We're trying to buy now at this point in the season, heading into the trade deadline, which is tomorrow. Now we're at March 1st, 2028, and we will go ahead and sit in this last game of the episode. We are going to look at some trade blocks, some sellers, and see some potential players that we could target in the next episode, as now after the first period here, Hartford is up 1-0. Mark Scheifele, another goal there on Philip Gustafsson. He had 40 saves against us going back to Game 1, the season opener of this Year 5 season, and they get that one back. Liam Greentree, former top 10 pick, as it's all tied up here into the third period. And like I said, the Capitals are far and away the worst team right now in the NHL, and if we can't come away with a win against them, although Tom Wilson against his former team there on the power play, able to put us back on top, but we need a little more convincing effort here against the team. They did beat us 5-1 though, going back to the season opener, even though that was a game we very much dominated, time on attack, the physicality aspect, but we just could not get pucks in the back of the net. Gustafsson was just phenomenal in that game. And now here into the final 5 of regulation. Again, we're on the power play. We've had a ton of power plays, I feel like, in recent games. I haven't really seen many go to the other team. Now into the final 60 seconds. And we do get the win here in DC, so we come back from that losing streak we were just on. Askarov was the second star with 26 saves. Again, Gustafsson, absolutely phenomenal. 31 saves. Mark Scheifele was the third star with a goal and an assist. But we do get back in the win column, and now we are 37-21-5 with 79 points here in the Metro Division. We will get a standings check here, as this is how we're going to leave the episode. So third place right now, 79 points. The Rangers are 2 points up on us with a game in hand. And then the Islanders just running away with the President's Trophy this year. They have 11 regulation losses, and I think 2 of those were from us. I think we are 2-0 against the top team right now in the NHL. But the Islanders probably going to clinch the division before too long. So it really comes down to the Rangers, the Whalers, the Hurricanes, and the Flyers, as the Devils and Blue Jackets still in it a little bit, but we'll see if they make any moves at the trade deadline to strengthen their case, because it is going to take a lot down the stretch here in the final 20 games or so to leapfrog a team like Philly or Carolina. The Penguins and the Capitals out. We see the Capitals at just 42 points, 18-39-6, their first season without Andrew Ovechkin. And now going to the entire league, the Islanders are number 1 at 99 points, followed by the Florida Panthers, who lead the Atlantic Division. Then Edmonton tops in the Western Conference right now with 82 points, followed by the Chicago Blackhawks, who won the Stanley Cup back in year 3. Then the Rangers, the Whalers, the Hurricanes, and Flyers. So 4 of the top 8 teams in the NHL, or make it 5 of the top 8 teams in the NHL, are all from the Metro Division. Then we get Toronto, Minnesota, as that does round out the top 10. Anaheim, last year's Stanley Cup champion, Colorado, Detroit, Dallas, Tampa Bay, New Jersey, as we kind of get here into the bottom half. And even though the Predators here with 67 points along with the Kings, they both currently hold playoff spots, just such an imbalance in terms of conferences, even though, like I've been harping on in this episode, the Western Conference has won all 4 Stanley Cup championships so far, but hopefully we're the team to bring it back east. So at this point, we're going to wrap things up, but I did want to get into a trade deadline little preview here. We'll just take a look at the trade blocks of teams around the league and get a sense for who's going to be on the market. Of course, we are buyers at the deadline if we do end up making a move. So a team like the Ducks, who are in contention, they're not really going to be willing to give anybody up, just more so prospects who we haven't scouted. We have no AHL scouts, so we put all our resources into amateur leagues and NHL as well. Arizona just has draft picks on the block. Same with Boston, Buffalo. I believe they are in it, so Calgary, probably a team that will be selling. We see here Dustin Wolf, but of course we don't need a goaltender. They currently have Igor Shesterkin, so Wolf looking for a starting gig elsewhere. Jaeger, 77 overall, so really no one there either. Carolina, another team in the hunt, so I'm not really sure that we would find anyone on their team. I mean, primarily we definitely need an upgrade at defense, probably a defensive defenseman type of guy to go along with Jordan Spence there on our third pairing, get a little bit of an upgrade or over Daniil Chaika, who has been decent in his rookie season, but nothing over the top. We could definitely stand to get an upgrade in that spot. And look at Zach Werenski here from our rival Columbus Blue Jackets. He does have a high cap hit, which we really don't have much leniency there, but he is a pending free agent, so if he does hit the market, he'll be a priority free agent for us. There's also Labushkin here, that defensive defenseman archetype, but Again, we need a left-handed shot there. We have Spence, a right-handed shot on that third pairing. So if we can get a veteran left-handed defenseman there to go with him, that would be a great fit. There's Jared McIsaac. We were looking at him this past free agency. 10 points in 63 games. Pretty solid, but not really the type we're looking for, even though he would probably be an upgrade over Chaika. Dallas Stars have a Madonna on the block. Who knows? Dominic Kubalik, his trade value bar is way up there, and that's another thing. We're not going to be negligent or irresponsible. We're not going to continue to gut our farm system that we currently have or give away future picks. We don't have a first round pick this year, and we don't have a second round pick next year. So if we're going to make a trade, it's probably going to be more of a budget type of deal, just a slight upgrade. I wouldn't really expect us to bring in much firepower, especially because we don't really have the cap space to work with. And the LA Kings, Darcy Kemper, I don't know if he's actually down in the AHL right now at 37 years old, signed pretty much a minimum contract. Dorofiev, a sniper, but he hasn't seen the ice at all. Just been a healthy scratch pretty much the entire way. Only 9 goals last season. I do like Alex Turcotte. I mean, pretty good season. 34 points in 63 games. This is really his first full season with the Kings. He's been kind of scattered between AHL, NHL time. A healthy scratch a lot of the way, but I'm not really looking at forwards all that much. I really just would like to bring in a defenseman to bolster that unit and really solidify what we have in front of Yaroslav Askarov. And Jacob Slavin would be great to bring in. But again, that cap hit at $10 million plus, not really a viable option. I do like Ryan Graves here, and he's pretty much what we're looking for in that defensive defenseman. So, I mean, definitely someone to consider. 6'5", 220 would pretty much be exactly what we're looking for to go along with Jordan Spence. Does have one more year on that $6.9 million contract. So I am going to write Ryan Graves down. That trade value bar is still a little bit high. So we'll see what it takes, but definitely someone we're going to explore. I'm not sure I don't think Montreal is really in the playoff picture. A lot of young guys they're building off of, though. And now Nashville, a few names here. Philip Forsberg, I've always liked him, but he's already 33. If the contract was maybe just 1 year, I wouldn't mind so much. But again, at $8.5 million, I don't know if we really have the flexibility for that. Someone I was looking at this past offseason was Thomas Novak. He's onto a 42-point season, an expiring contract. I think someone we would maybe pursue in free agency. He's been pretty productive on these bad Nashville teams over the years, mainly a second, third line type of guy. And who knows, maybe we'll even jot his name down and pursue him at the deadline. Look at Schmaltz here, up to elite potential, 50-plus point season already. And he's been really good since being traded over to Nashville from the Coyotes back in the year 1. Trade deadline, I want to say that was. And he's having a good bounce back year after his points have been kind of slipping every season. A right-handed shot, two-way forward, but that interest bar just way too high when we can go for someone like Novak instead. Now moving down the board, New Jersey, all prospects. The Islanders, all prospects. They're the top team right now. The Rangers, really the top team we're battling with there. Probably going to have a playoff series with them. That's what it's looking to shape up to be, at least. And now going down to Ottawa. I think they are sellers, and Shane Pinto was someone I was looking at as a potential upgrade, but again, I don't know if we're going to really go for forwards. The Flyers have a bunch of guys on the block here. Mantha, Sean Couturier still has 3 years on that contract at $7.75 million. I'm sure they're just eagerly waiting to get that off the books. Although in present day, he has come around quite well. Now, Pittsburgh is interesting. I've always liked Brian Rust, and he definitely would be an upgrade on like our third or fourth line as that 35-year-old two-way forward, but still productive with 48 points. And as a rental, I mean, the trade value bar isn't all that high, so I think we will write his name down as well. Taylor Radish, decent power forward, not really what we need though. And then Jacob Middleton, I wish we had him more scouted because he does fit that left-handed shot, a veteran defensive defenseman, but only 18 games this year. He's been a healthy scratch a lot of the way, so I feel like that doesn't really present an upgrade, especially with that trade value bar, like pretty much all the way at the bottom. Rickard Rakell is an interesting option, but probably out of our reach now, working to San Jose, and they're definitely going to be sellers. A bunch of defensemen here in Severson, Marino, Erik Karlsson, even Ferraro, the longtime Shark. And I see he has 2 years left on his contract at 5.5. I've always liked him. 82 overall is solid, and he definitely would be an upgrade over Daniil Chaika. Then Mayfield was a big free agent signing they made. I think that was the year 1 offseason, and he's been on the trade block ever since. But maybe San Jose as a team we'll look at, although, I mean, Severson is a 4-year contract, same with Marino. Karlsson has 1 more year on a $10+ million contract, so I'll just nix all these guys right off the rip. So Ferraro may be someone we look at if we can't get a deal done, maybe for someone like Ryan Graves. Seattle Kraken definitely sellers, as they've just been at the doormat of the league pretty much throughout this franchise. St. Louis does have some guys here. Kyrou, though, a multi-year contract. We're not really looking his way. Same with Buchnevich. They both have 4 years, so disregard no one there for St. Louis, no one here for Tampa Bay. Toronto, of course, in the playoff hunt, so they're not going to be selling. Vancouver, though, is towards the bottom, I believe. And they had a cheap defenseman I was looking at, not listed on the trade block, though. Vegas, just all draft picks. Washington, they're definitely going to be selling, but really no one worth buying. Winnipeg, a couple goalies here and a couple wingers, but no one we're really looking at. So that's going to do it here for the trade block, at least. We'll see in the next episode when we advance to the actual trade deadline menu. It seems like they always throw different players out there. So there were some very interesting options out there, especially someone like Zach Werenski from Columbus. Overall, I feel like there were a lot of quality defensemen out there, but just none that we could really afford, unfortunately. And I mentioned someone that I did like here from Vancouver. Again, it would probably just, demand the really minimal value here is 34-year-old Joel Edmondson, 6'5", 221. Fits exactly what we were looking for to put alongside Jordan Spence, but I didn't realize he was on a multi-year deal, and being that he's going to be 35 next season, probably going to see some big regression, so actually, second thoughts there on Edmondson. We could always buy him out, I guess, but I like to keep our books somewhat clean. And then coming over to Ottawa, there was a center I like, but they're actually kind of in the playoff picture right now, but a pending free agent was Shane Pinto at 27 years old. Only a 20-point season, but I like what he would present on the bottom line, a right-handed shot, which is something we could use. But again, forward, probably not going to be a point of emphasis as much as defense, but this is where I'm going to leave you folks. Thank you so much for watching. We had a great start to the episode, but a little bit up and down after that, but we are still currently in a playoff spot here in the Metro Division. A very pivotal trade deadline episode coming up, where the main focus, of course, is going to be that trade deadline section, but we're also going to look at our farm system, look at some of the young players we have in our organization that are going to be coming up through the farm system here, and within maybe even this season, we have some guys down in the juniors who are ready for the NHL, and instead of making a move at the trade deadline, maybe that's a way we look at to improve our team, improve our roster while keeping all draft capital in place along with all our prospects. But as always, everybody, thank you so much for watching. It's been real, and be well, and I'll see you next time.